Back. This is Nina Schneider, instructor for SCS 502, and I will be reviewing Milestone 1 paper today. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of Milestone 1 in this class, as it really is the foundation for most of the work that you're going to be doing in this term. The paper that you're going to be writing, although the instructions say it's going to be 2 to 3 pages, you're going to find yourself writing quite a bit more than just 2 to 3 pages. You're going to be reading and summarizing 3 articles using APA formatting. So today I'm going to be reviewing those critical elements and as well as some strategies. This is the first of 3 papers where you're going to be reviewing 3 articles, connecting the hypotheses, the research methodologies, and the results and conclusions from one article, the second article, and then the third article. So this is really, again, that foundation. Make sure that you are going to be using APA format for this paper. There are some great resources out there for APA style, so I'm not going to be reviewing that very much for this video. There are great videos for it already. So the first step, in Brightspace, you're going to be taking a look at the pre-selected studies. This is where you're going to be able to find it under Module 2, and then the section for final project milestone 1, reading and summarizing. When you click on the blue pre-selected study words, you're going to be able to download a zip file containing all 9 articles, and you only have to summarize 3 of them. You cannot choose your own 3 articles. You have to utilize these 3 pre-selected studies, and you will have the chance to add in your own 4th article in Milestone 3. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Come back and take it back to the critical elements. There are several critical elements, and you can review these. I'm going to provide an overview for each of them in this video. Make sure that you go back and you can check off literally that you are addressing each critical element for each of the 3 articles. My suggestion is that you review one article with all the critical elements before moving on to a second article, and then all those critical elements, and then the third. That makes it easier. Otherwise, you're going to be losing detail for each of the articles if you try to combine them all 3 in one paragraph. It gets awfully confusing, so just focus on one, then the next, then the next. You're going to start off with a brief article description. This is where you're going to just briefly explain in your own words what the article is going and discussing. Make sure that you cite the article correctly. Do not use the title of the article ever, unless it's in the reference section. This is probably one of the most common mistakes that I see, and it is one that can be easily rectified. So just make sure that you're citing it correctly. The second step is going to be identifying all the hypotheses. There are at least 2 hypotheses for every article that you're going to be reading. It's going to be helpful if you rewrite the hypothesis using the if-then statement. Most articles do not clearly state this is hypothesis 1, 2, and 3, 4. Instead, you can identify the hypothesis because it's going to be linked with the independent and dependent variables, and it's what they're going to focus on both in the results and the discussion sections. So make sure if you rewrite it, it also helps you to identify the independent and dependent variables, which I'm going to be coming to next. Do not copy and paste from the original articles. Make sure you just put these in your own words. The independent and dependent variables can be found in those hypotheses. There are at least 1 independent variable and 1 dependent variable for every hypothesis. It's kind of the basis of hypotheses and these variables. Most cases, there are a few independent variables, and in very rare cases, more than 1 dependent. There are great videos to help identify independent and dependent variables. Again, I'm not going to go over it today, more just going over the critical elements. They can be tricky. I do not expect you to get it perfect. Your grade is not dependent upon having a perfect, identifiable, independent and dependent variables. Instead, if you take a look exemplarily, you don't even get an option for that. You don't get points for that. I just want to have you make a good faith effort. I will help you in the Turnitin feedback that I provide. I will state what really is the independent and dependent variable as long as you make the first effort. Participants are very important. Make sure that you describe not only the number, but also information about age range, ethnicity, how they were chosen. Describe them a bit beyond just the number in total. When you describe the results, you definitely do not have to write about statistics. This is not a statistics class. This is not the research methods of statistics. Instead, you simply have to explain what the results show. In particular, you want to make sure that you identify whether or not each hypothesis was supported, and in general, go beyond. If the authors report information that is beyond just the hypotheses, it's very important to add that information in. Some articles have a lot of information on the results. Make sure that you understand them. Don't skimp on this content. Make sure you really expand on it. And then finally, the conclusions. The conclusions are different from the results. The results kind of indicate and are connected to those hypotheses. The conclusions are what the authors say, how you can use that information in the real world. How is that information applicable? And then finally, you're going to be graded on articulation of response. This means everything from grammar and spelling and APA format, making sure the references are there, and really make sure that you edit your paper before you submit. You can utilize the online writing center if you can submit your paper to them a little bit early. Also, feel free to have like a family member review it just to make sure that it's understandable. I often tell students, write as if your mother is going to be reading this so that she really has an understanding of what these articles are about. And that concludes my overview of Milestone 1. Please reach out if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day.